want to talk about the fighting Phils. And not only because Ray Dunne is rocking an awesome Philadelphia Phillies jacket today. He's got the powder blue, the throwback maroon. He's got the World Series 1980 patch on his right arm. That is a fire jacket, Ray. But mainly because, dude, we're less than a week away.
Finally.
From opening day. It'll be down in Washington, D.C. against the Nationals. But a question that Ray posed to me last night, and I think this is a good one. As we look at this Philadelphia Phillies team, now this core of players that haven't been able to get over the hump yet, as we look at the team and the organization as a whole, which Philly in the organization, so it's not just players, is facing a make or break season? And it's interesting because I say not just players. You could start at the top. I mean, you could start with Dave Dombrowski. We've heard Mike Missanelli on the show yesterday talking about how he thinks Dave Dombrowski kind of failed in what his offseason plan should have been. They didn't add a bat into the outfield that was a right-handed bat. They haven't really done much, according to Mike, to upgrade the bullpen. I'm excited about the bullpen. I think Romano's going to end up being a great addition. I'm excited for Alvarado. But let me throw the question to you first, Ray. Who in the Phillies organization, top to bottom, general manager, all the players, who do you think's facing the biggest make or break season this year?
The group formerly known as the daycare, you could pick any one of them out and probably narrow this down as the make or break season, but to me, it's got to be Alec Bohm. I mean, this was a guy who was on the outs, it felt like, early on in this offseason. It didn't seem like anything ended up materializing for them. They believe they have a prospect down in the minor leagues that's going to come up and be a big-time hitter that potentially you could move off of Bohm. And would he be a third baseman? Would he be a shortstop? Then you got to figure out the rest of the infield. But ultimately, to me, you need a consistent right-handed bat in this lineup. Trey Turner's already got his money. He's already entrenched in the Phillies' plans for the long term. Nick Castellanos is what he is at this point. Alec Bohm kind of has to show you that it wasn't just a fun, hot first half for him last year, and that this is something sustainable, that he is a difference maker at third base, and that he can be that guy in your lineup, especially with the way they're breaking out this lineup. If you're going to be the guy hitting in between Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber in this lineup, you need to be productive day in, day out, and you can't let yourself be just broken down mentally by a bad stretch of games. Unfortunately, that's the way this goes in Major League Baseball. You can't let the slump take over your life. You have to take one day at a time, come back to the ballpark, and let yesterday be yesterday. And to see him get benched in a postseason scenario last year was baffling for a guy that was an all-star. Like, you just can't have that happen. You can't have that type of kind of just mental attitude going into a postseason series. And I think that, for me, coming into this season, you got to find out whether or not he is a part of your plans for the long term, whether or not he is someone that is going to be here long term at third base. I think for him it's a make or break 2025, because it felt like the end of 2024 might have broke his entire time with the Phillies.
Yeah, it's a great answer, but it's crazy that he is the answer, and I don't disagree with you, but you're talking about a guy who, made an all-star game last year, had 97 RBIs 2 years in a row, but it's mainly because of his attitude. Like, when you have that, when you talk about producing, the guy batted .280 last year. He had 97 RBIs. At one point, he was leading Major League Baseball in doubles. I don't know how he finished the season, but he had 44 doubles last year. You know, for that to be a guy that you're saying is a make or break, and I agree with you, coming off of an all-star season, it just goes to show how bad the attitude did get, that he's getting benched in the postseason. But let me ask you, when you say make or break, if he's going to be batting in the 3-hole, which is where I think you and I both want him, right? You want Turner leading off, Harper batting second, then Alec Bohm at 3 with Schwarber as your cleanup. If that is, in fact, the case, do you need Alec Bohm to hit more than 15 home runs? Because that's what he had last year. I'm
kind of done with trying to project him out to hit 20, 25. Oh, this is the year he has the power outbreak. Unfortunately, he is what he is. You would love to have more power coming out of that corner infield position, especially over there at third base. But if he puts up the numbers that he did first half of last season that made him an all-star, I'm not going to be particularly upset. Now, that probably puts him on pace for like 17, 18 home runs. But my issue with him was much more the fact that you look at a 681 OPS in the second half of the season, the last 50 games of the season, he just did not produce it anywhere near the level that he did the first half of the season. Whether he took a little bit of a step back at that time, you would have been okay with it. But it was a total step back. You could see that it weighed on him every single day. He couldn't get himself out of it to the point where they didn't think it was productive to have him in the lineup in the postseason. You can't have that. You certainly can't have it of a guy that's going to be hitting third in between Harper and Schwarber in a lineup where you desperately need a right-handed bat that can break the two of those guys up.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with it, right? It really is. It's hard to argue with it. And then you look at his contract, too. He's eligible for arbitration again at the end of this season, but then they'll have to make a decision. So when we talk about make or break, if he has a good season, maybe they're extending him for a long period of time as well. Now, you mentioned you could take anybody from the daycare. You went with Alec Bohm.
Yeah.
I would put Alec Bohm up there on my list as well, but I'm going to take somebody else from the daycare, and that's Bryson Stott. Because Bryson Stott, all I heard 2 years ago was this is a guy who could be a 300 hitter in Major League Baseball. Not only last season did he take a step back and he only bats 245, they started to platoon him against left-handed pitching. So for me, when I look at this lineup, and you're right, Alec Bohm's going to be up near the top. Alec Bohm is the right-handed bat. But Bryson Stott can really be the X factor, in my opinion, on this Phillies team. Because if Bryson Stott comes out and he shows that he truly is that 300 hitter, like could you imagine if Bryson Stott this season bats over 300, first of all, that gives you some flexibility too. Like we're talking about Trey Turner at the top of the lineup, and I hope he succeeds there. If Bryson Stott turns into the hitter that a lot of people are predicting he would be, he could be your leadoff hitter. There's a chance where he could move into that leadoff spot. Now, it would change a lot of things because you don't want to go lefty-lefty with Harper batting second there. But if Bryson Stott can truly bat close to 300 or even over 300, I think he's the X factor in this lineup. So for me, he is the make or break guy. But you talk about the daycare, you could also throw Brandon Marsh in there, similar reasons to Bryson Stott, that he's got to learn how to hit left-handed pitching.
And what's crazy to me, because I feel like the Stott, like you go down the leadoff conversation, that's like 10 steps down the line for me. Stott, and you mentioned the platooning, Stott gets a pass of like, oh yeah, this guy can play every day. Where a season ago, he did not show you that. That was quite the contrary. It was a conversation we had all last summer that I was baffled by the fact that, yeah, against lefties, Stott will be out there, but Marsh wouldn't. Both of them, if you're going to let Stott hit lefties, you might as well let Marsh hit lefties because both of them were struggling to figure them out. And both of them need to do that this season. One of them needs to show you that they're a consistent everyday player. The one thing that you do get out of Stott is defensively, he is a tremendous second baseman.
He is.
And you want to see it work out. I don't even need him to hit 300. Honestly, if Stott is close to his 2023 form, and that's kind of where he maxes out, he's not the one in the lineup that I'm anticipating the most of anyone to really drive what they do offensively. If he's close to 2023 form with defense we've seen at second base, I'm okay with that. It just can't be as dire as it was at times a year ago.
Yeah, it's a good conversation, Ray. And we want to hear from you out there, 610-632-0975. With us less than a week away from Major League Baseball, Philadelphia Phillies opening day. Who do you think faces a make or break season? Ray says Alec Bohm. I say Bryson Stott. But there are certainly a few others, not only players. We're going to talk about the manager. We're going to talk about the general manager coming up. But maybe something that'll make you feel good. MajorLeagueBaseball.com, MLB.com, made 9 bold predictions. One of their predictions, I think it's going to make a lot of Phillies fans smile. We'll get into that coming up. This is the Mike Missanelli Show. You got Bill Colarulo, Ray Dunne, Sean Rodman behind the glass. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you can engage during the show and you're not going to want to miss all the content that we post. It's not only the live videos, it's videos after the fact. It's our shorts. It's all the content you want as a Philadelphia sports fan. Looking forward to connecting.